It's finished on Altringham's first visit to the Crown Oil Arena. Rochdale 3, Altrincham 0. It's not been a good night for the Robins. Phil Parkinson, the Robins manager, joins us. Phil, full credit to Rochdale that they were excellent on the night.
Yeah, they were better than us, weren't they? I felt they started far superior to ourselves, and you've got to give them a lot of credit for that. I can give you the excuses of we've hit a load of traffic. Some of our lads have been stuck in traffic for 3 hours, but we've still got to start better. We were just absolutely nowhere near the levels we'd expect in the opening exchanges.
In the first 10 minutes, we hardly had any of the ball, which is really unlike us. And then for the next 10 minutes, it seemed that we had enough of the ball, but they did a really good job closing us down. And we really struggled. And it was a key phase of the game, and they got the first goal.
Yeah, they got the first goal, and they were well deserved to get the first goal. But then I felt we got on top. As bad as we were in the opening, probably 15, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not sure it felt like 20 minutes, but it was probably 15. We let them have the ball. That was part of the game plan, rightly or wrongly. Away from home, we felt they were a team that liked the ball, but then sometimes can switch off. They didn't. They were very good. And then when they got the goal, obviously, I felt we come into it a little bit then, and then we get a penalty, and I think he's been superb from the spot, hasn't he? I think if Chris scores that, listen, I'm standing in front here probably saying a different story. Goals change games. And then second half, I felt we started the better team. I felt we were well on top, dictating play, probing. But listen, the difference between the two teams on the night, we can say what we want about the opening part of the game, which will make everyone think that we've been absolutely battered. And the 3-0 isn't reflective of the game, by the way. They've been clinical. They've scored. I think they've had 4 shots on goal and scored 3. But ultimately, they'll say they've defended really well. But I think that's their first clean sheet in 10 games or something like that, first back-to-back win. So that's really disappointing for us. But ultimately, I said it last week, these are a team that have come down, look at the stadium, they've got expectations of being in the playoffs, and they flexed the muscles tonight, and we've not stood up to it. And I've made the lads very aware that under no uncertain terms is that acceptable for us moving forward. This is the way we started the game, but ultimately we weren't clinical enough. And for me, we didn't want it enough on the night, and very rarely you've heard me say that to you, but that's what it smelled of at the start. And then, as we always do, we find a feet. We had lots of the ball. Just we couldn't break them down, and they've got to take, or Rochdale, you've got to give a lot of credit for that in terms of their defensive discipline. They were really hungry tonight, you could tell, and our lads have got to match that.
There was an interesting event at 1-0. Gerald Sitoli was through. I don't know if he was offside or he wasn't, but the referee appeared to blow up before the linesman's put his flag up.
I know, but I'm not going to harp on about the officials. It certainly wasn't them. Whether he was onside or not, I don't think we were going to score tonight anyway. The opportunities that we created were few and far between. We huffed and we puffed, we probed, but we weren't good enough on the night, and sometimes you've got to take your medicine. I thought we played really well Saturday, and I've stood in front of you before, and when we've won, sometimes I've been disappointed with us. Saturday we've lost, I was really happy with the performance. Tonight we've lost, and I'm not happy with the performance overall. No, I'm not happy with the way we started the game. Overall, I felt the lads stepped up in the second half, but we faced a team who on the night have took all the chances, and sometimes that's what happens if you don't take your chances, which we didn't take that penalty opportunity we had. But again, I'm certainly not going to blame Chris, the amount how good he's been for us this season. But ultimately, if he scores that, like I said, it's probably a different game. Do they hold their nerve the way they did in the second half under the pressure that we put them under? I don't know, but ultimately we didn't give them enough to worry about on the night.
If we look at the season, 6 games unbeaten at the start, then 2 defeats, 2-1 against Bromley, 3-0 at Barnet, 10 games unbeaten, and now exactly the same thing again, 2-1 at Eastleigh, 3-0 tonight. But we have to take things in the round across the whole of the season, and we just have to go again, starting with Solihull on Saturday.
Absolutely, and it doesn't get any easier, does it? That'll be a really tough game. I think they've lost 2 on the bounce as well, so both teams will be absolutely busting at the seams to get the result. So again, if you want to see 2 really competitive teams get down to that game, I'm sure it'll be a barnstormer, but it's one we've got to come out on top of. Certainly not going to be pressing any panic buttons, but ultimately there's been lads who have been waiting there for an opportunity. We've lost 2 now, so we'll certainly have to consider the rotations and giving lads opportunities who have been waiting patiently. So that's the way football should be. I'm devastated for all the fans that have come and supported us. I really appreciate your support. I said when we were winning there'll be tough times as well. There always is in this division. Hopefully these are the little blips that we've got to get over, a couple of defeats, but we all know what we want to achieve from this season, and we can't have too many more nights like that where we start a game that poorly.
Yeah, over nearly 350 Alty fans here tonight, and they stuck with us as they always do.
Yeah, they were superb, and that's what I think we've earned that. We've earned that from the fans. I'd be really disappointed if they turned on us after a couple of defeats. These lads have been excellent this season. Everyone's trying everything we can. Nobody anticipated that, but again, like I said, I could put it down to a couple of things in terms of getting here tonight. It's crazy because you're thinking this is one of the shorter journeys, but it turned out to be a nightmare with the traffic. The coach, lads were on that coach for 3 hours coming to Rochdale. It's crazy. So again, we'll have to look at that in terms of how we get into these types of fixtures in this type of traffic. It's all learning, but ultimately, listen, we've got to be much better than what we've shown there, and we will. We've got a really good group of players. I'll back them to the hilt. They've given us everything so far this season. If it's gonna be a little tough period, then we'll weather it and we'll come out the other end. But it won't be for the lack of effort and trying to put things right.
And yesterday afternoon, the FA Trophy third round draw was made, and must have been a bit of a wry smile when it was Halifax versus Altrincham.
Yeah, I think we've got them about 3 times in the space of a month now, haven't we? So it's an opportunity for us to put right a few wrongs from last season. But again, there's no givens in this division. They seem to have turned their season round, and I don't know how they've got on tonight. If they've won, then they'll definitely be above us, won't they? I think so. Halifax are a team with a rich history in this division, and obviously holders of the trophy. So it'll be a really tough test for us, but one that we're certainly looking forward to get to the point we got to last season. You've got to beat the best teams, and we'll have to beat one of the best teams to take anything.